I wasn't always like this, pounding down drinks in the middle of some godforsaken last-ditch cafe in an effort to forget all of my sorrows. I used to have dreams, ambitions, goals. I wanted to be something. I wanted to be a star. But all that can fall at the drop of a hat, and I was voted most likely to drop my hat in high school. Don't know why. Don't even know why that was a superlative, but I was. You can check in the yearbook. It's there. Anyways, things weren't going very well for me that day. That's all you need to know. But my luck changed when a beautiful dame walked into the bar that I was sitting in. Of course you do, Cindy. See any other sexy dames around here? If so, are they single? If so, can I get their number? Anyways, beautiful dame. She had eyes like LEDs glowing in the sunset, and she asked me, "What's a sexy man like you doing in a place like this?" That's what her voice sounded like. It's very attractive. I don't know why. Maybe it was the drink, maybe it was her face, maybe it was the fact that no one had listened to me in so long. But I started to tell her. I told her everything about how I was drinking to get away from the visions that haunted me ever since that one fateful day. Visions of money trees and women in red dresses and photo albums. But I was getting ahead of myself. The story starts with a game called Shannon Tweed's Attack of the Groupies. Before we get started, I just want to say that Shannon Tweed's Attack of the Groupies is a real game. This isn't some free flash game. I didn't find it on some godforsaken download site. I didn't find it in a Goodwill on a CD with like 50 other games, most of which are mahjong. This is a real game on Steam, and it costs real money. Well, $5, but $5 is like real enough money. Now, I'm certain some of you are going to be wondering, who the heck Shire is Shannon Tweed? Well, if you haven't heard of her, then you've been living in a cave for the last decade, according to this game's website. Cindy, we did it! We're finally cavemen!
When worlds collide, you'll laugh so hard.
Shannon Tweed got her start in the softcore porn industry, hung out with Hugh Hefner for a while, and eventually married Gene Simmons of Kiss, and they had their own TV show called The Osbournes. Gene Simmons' Family Jewels. Clearly all of the rabid fans of her little-known reality show were clamoring for a video game about Shannon Tweed, and a game they got. Shannon Tweed's Attack the Groupies came out on Steam on, get this, April 1st, 2012. The first thing you see when you start the game is this intro video. Well, I mean, the first thing you see is the menu, but it's a menu, so... The first interesting thing you see is this intro video, and it's actually pretty well done. It's reasonably well animated, it's clear that a lot of thought and effort was put into it, and it tells the game's story pretty well. The story being that there's a bunch of groupies going after your man, and you gotta stop them from going after your man. At this point, I thought the game wasn't gonna be great, but I thought it might be decent, you know, it might be well done, but then you're dropped into the main game and the game's tutorial, and right there, that's the worst first sign in the game you're ever gonna see. Tap to continue. You know what that means? It means this was a mobile phone game that just ported to the PC without even changing the thing that tells you to tap things because they didn't realize that people on PC click things. In other words, we're not dealing with a poorly made PC game. That would be one thing. We're dealing with a poorly made port of a poorly made mobile phone game, which is even worse because, you know, those have a really good reputation. But I'm not here to get hung up on the first message of a game's tutorial, even though that's what I'm doing right now. I'm here to play a game. So let's play this game. You start out by being gifted with magical sky money, and then you use that money to buy a money tree, because money grows on trees. After absent-mindedly clicking the money tree for a while, you eventually earn enough money to be able to buy a squirt gun? And then groupies start appearing, and you have to shoot the groupies with the squirt gun, and then they die, and you don't really do anything. Is this game reminding you of anything? Any other mobile game that was really successful and was ported to PC and did really well? And it's Plants vs. Zombies. This game is literally exactly Plants vs. Zombies. Although they did choose a really good game to clone, Plants vs. Zombies is awesome. I love that game. It's probably the best game in its genre. Sure, it's casual and involves a lot of waiting, but all of that waiting is spent planning your next move and reacting to the zombies coming, and the zombies approach quickly enough and differently enough that you always have new things to react to and new things to make, and as a result, it's really fun and satisfying and good. And add to that all the different towers that you unlock quickly, and the different maps that change the gameplay significantly, and the different minigames that spice things up, and it's just a really fun game, and it's a game that you can play for a while and not get bored. But when Shannon Tweed's Attack the Groupies was copying Plants vs. Zombies, they forgot to copy all those things, because it doesn't have them. As a matter of fact, it was really, really boring. The pace is a lot slower than it was in Plants vs. Zombies, even if you speed up the game. The enemies move slower and spawn slower, and as a result, you end up just spending more time waiting and less time actively involved in playing the game. In Plants vs. Zombies, in a lot of levels, you're always at your last grasp and trying to get just enough money to survive, but in Shannon Tweed's Attack the Groupies, you get money pretty consistently, and you never really need it, so as a result, you can pretty much, in the first third of any level, get all of the towers that you'll need and spend the rest of the time just kind of watching them do their work. And Plants vs. Zombies had a wide variety of plants that you end up needing to utilize and to choose between in order to make your game most successful, but in Shannon Tweed's Attack the Groupies, you have the money tree and the squirt gun, and that's it. A fully upgraded squirt gun is better than anything else in the game, or at least anything else in the part of the game that I played through. Set up a couple rows of money trees, set up a couple rows of squirt guns, upgrade those squirt guns, bam, you just solved every level in Shannon Tweed's Attack of the Groupies. And even that'd be okay if getting all those items was difficult, but often you just end up having a ridiculous money surplus at the end of the level that you don't have anything to do with, because you already have enough to beat the level, and it's way too easy, and because it's so easy, it ends up being just really boring and monotonous. And then there's the music. The one tiny 6-second loop of music. Don't you love it? I love it. I really love it. But what about the graphics, you ask? Look at them. They're really bad. They're the worst. They're 100% the worst, and I hate them, and they're awful, and I wish they didn't exist. But there is a silver lining to the game, and it's the humor. At the end of every level, you get to hear Shannon say hilarious quips towards the groupies.
Desperation is never attractive. A little heavy on the makeup there, ladies. Bam! Did I ruin yours too? I'm so sorry! She's so fake, she makes Barbie look natural. A shower should be part of everyone's daily routine. I'm no psychic, but her future might involve glitter and a pole.
For one, this whole view is really gross and slut-shaming. Like, you know, instead of judging these women for what they do in their personal lives, maybe you should instead be judging your husband for apparently so easily committing adultery. But also, if we believe in your moral view, then I don't think you should be the one to talk about classiness. You know, considering that you're a former softcore porn actress and a current reality show star. So, you know, maybe she who is without sin should cast the first stone here? Shannon Tweed's Attack of the Groupies is a game that's bad in pretty much every way a game can be bad. Bad graphics, bad music, bad writing, bad sound design. Like, seriously, listen to those sound effects. They're awful. But I think it's worse in its design in general. It's an outright clone of a game that's fun and fast-paced and challenging, but it replaces all of that with slowness and ease and not really needing to do anything. I was able to spend full minutes of this game not pressing a single button or clicking on a single thing and beating the levels just fine, and that just shows how monotonous and soul-crushing it can get. Overall, I wouldn't recommend Shannon Tweed's Attack of the Groupies to anyone, not even as a fun joke game. It's just bland and awful. Don't play it. Don't ever play it. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Well, that's my story. By the time I'd finished telling it, the dame had left. I didn't blame her, they always leave someday or another. And besides, it left me with a lot of time to just think about my past and about my future and what it might hold. I know I'd always be a drifter, drifting from game to game. I'm hard to die down, that's in my blood. But if you want to keep track of what I'm doing in the future, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I'll be posting more videos than you can shake a stick at. I also knew that I'd always work alone, except when I work with Itembox, which is all the time. You can go to the Itembox channel to see the things that me and my friends do together. Top 10 lists, gameplay, all that sort of stuff. Anyways, that's enough of my rambling. If you'll excuse me, I'm just gonna sit here, down my Diet Pepsi, and wait for the future to come. I know it's gonna come one of these days. I can feel it.